Hello everyone, and welcome back to our video series, Is Your Classroom Ready for Twitter? So, this probably is the favorite part for me of this video series, really to sort of talk about how we can create student projects and really engage students through Twitter. Now, I'm going to show you my Twitter in a moment here, but I want to show you some other links that I have here for you to hopefully give you some ideas to inspire you and to show you some of the possibilities that are out there to really engage students with Twitter. Now, before I get into the tweet chat and to the guide to tweet chatting, there's this great article that was just updated not too long ago about facilitating a class Twitter chat. And this is, I think, is really, I want you to probably should read this first, okay? Because again, it talks about discussing digital citizenship, things that we already talked about in our previous video series, how to host a chat, the privacy issues, right? What's your objective of hosting this Twitter chat? How they're going to get access to this, all right? They should be prepared, all right? And how you host it and so forth. So this is really kind of a neat sort of activity. Now, what this really means is now there's some different services that actually do this, but one of the most common ones is called Tweet Chat, where you can create a unique hashtag for your course or for your class or even for your assignment, and then it basically creates a room where students use Twitter to follow that hashtag and to comment in live, sort of back and forth. So that's really kind of a neat way to actually engage students through Twitter. Now there's a whole desktop interface. I can just do a quick little hashtag. I'll just call it Canisius EdTech. We actually use that hashtag a lot for promotion of our program and to show students what we're doing in terms of education technologies in our online master's program. So I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to authorize the app. And this takes a few moments, and it has my Twitter, and this is great. So now everybody can, this is like a whole stream of chats where I can pause the stream, I can share the stream. There's like room settings that you can sort of get involved in. Now there's no stream right now happening, right? But it's like my room where I can have rooms where people are just chatting about this particular hashtag. I can create multiple rooms at the same time. So really kind of neat things where you can sort of monitor a whole entire discussion on Twitter within this hashtag, which is really kind of fun. Now, this is a kind of inspired me because I do a little bit of this with my students already, but I haven't actually used this tweet chat. So I'm going to show you some ways I can make some things I've already done, I think, go a little smoother if I was actually using this. Now, here's a step-by-step guide to hosting a successful Twitter chat. And this will give you a really great sort of how-to, like what is a Twitter chat, how do I host it, benefits of it, why do this, so this is a really great element. Now, this actually comes from a really cool tool called Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a kind of a dashboard where you can monitor and post to multiple social media platforms at the same time. I actually use this to promote my EdTech program at Canisius College, where I'll have my Twitter stream up, my Facebook stream up, some Google Plus stuff up, and I can actually, monitor them all at the same time. So this is kind of a neat tool that if you're perhaps, want to monitor your account and, kind of have a nice dashboard, it gives you more options than just the plain Twitter dashboard. This might be a cool tool to check out. So there's some more information about hosting your Twitter chat. All right. So that was kind of a fun thing to look at. All right. Now, the other article I have here for you is using Twitter to promote learning. Great article, great overview of making connections outside the classroom, how social media can be a positive, make connections within the district, outside the district, around the world. Great sort of assignment kind of guidelines and ideas that you can use. So I think this is something really fun to look at, to really kind of give you some inspiration of how you might use Twitter in multiple ways. All right. Now, the other thing I have here for you is a tool called Periscope, and I actually do use Periscope. Periscope gives you the ability to basically live stream something, video, via your Twitter account. So this actually goes out there for the whole world to see, and you can go on to Periscope and see what's being sort of broadcast live. And I've actually used Periscope in my classroom with my students, and I'll show you some examples of that. This is kind of another neat feature. Perhaps if you're on a field trip or maybe you got a guest speaker and you want to perhaps post that as a live feed, that might be kind of a fun thing to actually do. It really works through apps, doesn't really work on a desktop. So you got either download the iOS app or the Android app from Google Play, and you can use your phone to sort of capture and to broadcast a live video feed. It's on Periscope, but it's actually broadcast via Twitter, which is really kind of neat. And here's a whole article, a tutorial about Periscope and how it works. Okay, so if you want some more information about how to actually use it. Okay, so here is, let me go back to the beginning here. Here is my class Twitter. So I'm really excited to share this with you. I've had this now for over about 3 years, and I really built it and sort of trying to get new ideas on actually how to actually use it. And this is, if you're not familiar with Twitter, this is kind of like the home area, the home page of Twitter. Now, I made this background because I teach a course that my students actually get credit through NAG University, even though they're Clarence High School students. They get credit through NAG University. This is actually a co-registration course, which means that students actually get a real transcript from NAG University. That course is History 274, American Military History. And New Step is the program that NAG University uses to give high school students credit for courses taken at high school through NAG University. It's called New Step, which stands for NAG University Senior Term Enrichment Project. So this is what I was explaining in the earlier video. I got permission from my administrators to create this class Twitter and to really showcase students and showcase what we do. I was given permission to share photographs of students, to share work of students. What I do is if I post any work or share any student information, I will only use my student's first name and last initial. I do not obviously use their last names. I think that's an issue, obviously. And a lot of students follow me, but the deal was I would not follow them back. Okay, I would not follow a student back. I think that's important separation. And I think some students might be a little bit leery. Maybe they don't want the teacher to see what they're doing on Twitter. Maybe they really don't want them to follow them back. And I think some students are a little bit leery at first to actually follow me. They're a little worried there's going to be some sort of an invasion of that private space that they have. So I really make that clear. And another thing I make clear is that there's a tool, there's a technique called direct messaging, where you can send someone that you follow a direct message that only that person sees. I actually said I turn that off on my account. I do not allow direct messages to be received, or I don't send them to us students. The only way I do that is either through an email, or I mentioned before there's a tool out there called Remind. It's an app where students can download where I can actually send them texts and back and forth, but no one knows each other's personal private information. So I really try to keep things professional and separated from school life to their own personal lives. Okay, so what you can see here is the feed, and this shows you all your photos and videos, and this is the feed of our class Twitter. Now, let me explain some of the highlights here that you can kind of see. So our class Twitter is at DK, which stands for Dr. Kotlik, History 274, and that's my name there, obviously. And we went to Fort Niagara, so I tweeted out a lot of information about, from the day we went to Fort Niagara as a field trip. I mentioned New Step from Niagara University. I also mentioned Niagara University in the tweet. And I also mentioned Old Fort Niagara in the tweet. And, I got a lot of response from that. And that's a cool technique that if you're at a place, at a field trip, and you mention places where you're at, or if you're discussing a topic or an individual and then that person has a Twitter, you mention them, that's a cool way to engage students in the outside world of Twitter and how you can use, a mention to really kind of broaden the conversation and to get people involved. So Niagara University liked our tweet. They retweeted our tweet. I do that all the time with Niagara, and they're really great and proactive of actually getting the word out and liking what we do. So for us, it makes my students feel connected to Niagara University, even though they're not technically there. So it's kind of a nice way. So it was a really rainy day at Fort Niagara. We went 2 days. So we had some fun both days. Now, here's an example of a Periscope. So this is actually, and hopefully maybe make this a little bit smaller. I don't know if it's going to be able to show up as much. This is actually a tweet of a debate we had. We had a debate. We used a lot of debates in class. And this particular debate, what I did was I posted it live on Periscope. Now, what I did was, this was what I used as a fishbowl debate. We had 4 teams debating, and each group in my class takes on the identity of an actual military unit. So these are 4 different student groups. And I actually was videoing the clock of the debate. And here I think you can, I don't know if, maybe pause it because you're probably hearing my voice too. Just in case you heard my voice, I apologize. This was actually a debate, a fishbowl debate, and these are the student groups, and a member from each group is in the fishbowl in the center, and students from the outside ring, and they can only sort of use their Chromebooks to discuss or communicate via Google Doc, but they can't really talk to the group in the inside. But they can go in and out of the inner circle as much as they want. So, members from each team are constantly tagging in and tagging out, and I keep score. So what I did was I actually videoed my screen where I have this kind of neat scoreboard, and I'm keeping score live. So as the debate's going on, we had a live score, and we had 55 viewers. So students told people about it, they told their parents about it, and this was a live video during class. So let me just make this a little bit bigger so you can kind of see it, and I'll play it for a few moments here. I'm not sure if you can hear the students talking or not in the background, but I'm keeping score, and let me just kind of fast forward here. You can see the score changed. The scores are changing throughout the debate, as the debate went on. So this was really kind of a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun for us. So this was a kind of a cool way to use that tool I just mentioned, Periscope, to actually use it for an in-class activity. So we did this for all the classes. And it was just a lot of fun in terms of getting involved in it. Now, another thing I want to show you here is this is an example, and this is something actually I might pursue in more detail next year. I mentioned that I divide my students up into groups, and the groups take on the identity of an actual unit in military history. Well, a couple of groups kind of took on their own to create their own Twitter account based upon their historical regiment. And that was kind of cool. And they got involved, and we had debates. They were kind of tweeting as a group. And this is the one case where I said, you know what, I'm going to follow you guys back because I thought that was fine. It was a group project, and that was kind of neat. And this is also a way I think it got students involved, perhaps who didn't have a Twitter or who felt kind of awkward about, sharing their Twitter. They were also involved. They felt a little more comfortable in a group environment. So that was kind of really neat. So there's a kind of a cool example. So let me just kind of click this as a new tab. So this is actually a group of students. They took on the identity of the 34th Infantry, and these are kind of like their tweets about issues in class and stuff like that. Something that I tweeted out. It's a joke. And that's their pictures of their, shirts and so forth. So it was a great way to kind of build camaraderie, build community, in the class. So I think next year I might make that a requirement to have each group take on a class Twitter. So these are more of the debates. I photographed some students live during the debate, so you got kind of a sense of it. Now, other debates that we do is I oftentimes, if we have a group debate, I tweet out some things to kind of promote the course. I give them sort of incentives. This is them taking their midterm exam all in one spot and location. So that was kind of a neat sort of tweet to kind of have shared out. Okay. What I also do is I award badges, and we talk about badging in other video series of gamification. So, I kind of said, okay, who's going to get that note check star tomorrow? Whoever group does best on their note check. Just some funny things from some students that we were sharing out together. This kid had purple sneakers on. We have class shirts, so we always kind of like tweeted that about our class shirts. This is from a debate, and I do a lot of live tweeting during the debate where I'm tweeting little comments back and forth of what students are saying. This is not the Periscope debate. This is actually a formalized debate where students give speeches and prepared them, and they cross-examine each other. So I do a lot of live tweeting during those debates, which is just a lot of fun. Okay, so you kind of had a really kind of a neat sort of environment there where the tweets were going on. Okay, things are taking a little bit slow here for a moment. Let me just make this a little bit smaller. Okay, so that went on a lot. We had a snow day, just fun things. Now, students earn ranks. This is part of that classroom sort of building, part of the gamification. And when people earned a rank for doing really well and getting different, they had to get 5 badges to get their first rank. I tweeted that out. So that was kind of neat. Results of debates of which team won from the voting. So really you kind of get a sense of how I use this with my students, and a lot of it is for classroom camaraderie, team building, shouting out, and that's just a lot of fun. Here's all the different videos and photos that we've had throughout the years together now. It's kind of a nice collection for me now too, to go back and look even like 3 years ago and look at some of the students I had, and it's, it kind of keeps me in touch with them in some respects. A lot of the kids that I had 3 years ago still follow our class Twitter and even will make comments, even though now they're in college. So again, you get we had some guest speakers. We had, this man was is a hero from the Iraq War, and he came in as a veteran. He talked about his experiences. He has a service dog with him, and our students, he had a great time listening to him. We went to Niagara University on a field trip. That was a lot of fun for them. We're reading this book about Washington's Crossing and so forth. So we have a lot of really great aspects going on here from our class. So that's the way I use my class Twitter, and I hope that will give you some insights on how to use it. One more thing I should mention. I also do follow some aspects. Like, I follow the regiments who made regiments. I follow Western New York Heroes, which was a group that came in and talked to us, and some major history sites, Niagara University, history sites, and so forth. So again, this is an example how you can show students how you can follow different organizations to really not just for social aspects, but even for learning. And that's a great way to kind of get involved in different topics, right? So there's one aspect that you can also share with them. Okay, so hope this was useful for you, and thank you so much, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.